This is a crazy story. A new documentary telling the wild story of how 8 young people from Rhode Island created a secret apartment in a busy mall in Providence, and no one noticed as they snuck in furniture, smuggled in 2 tons of cinder blocks, and tapped into the mall's electricity.
I have too many questions. The documentary is actually called Secret Mall Apartment. Joining us now to tell us how this all unfolded is the film's director, Jeremy Workman. Thanks so much for being with us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Yeah, it's a bonkers story.
Too many questions as to how this happened.
Yes.
First of all, take us back to when this happened.
So this is 2003 to 2007 in Providence, Rhode Island. Like, a mall comes in, the biggest construction project in the history of Rhode Island, comes in and sort of changes this neighborhood, displaces all these people, and these 8 young artists, troublemakers, instigators, whatever, they decide they're going to go into the mall and move in, and they did. They found a space, and they lived there for 4 years secretly. And they filmed the whole thing.
But how did they do it? Didn't anyone catch them?
They were, first of all, they went in through like these weird like caverns and like angles in the building across I-beams, and they found this space that was probably not much bigger than this little area, about 800 square feet. And they decided that in some like weird act that they're gonna occupy this unoccupied space. They were mad about gentrification, but they were also these artists, so they were like thinking about all kinds of weird things when they were doing it. It's wild.
So they filmed this, and none of this was released until you somehow convinced them, hey, let me tell this story. First of all, how did you do that?
I guess I'm pretty persuasive.
You're convincing,
Yeah, they sat on this for like 17, 18 years.
Wow.
A lot of filmmakers wanted to do this movie. It's Providence legend. It's Providence, Rhode Island, like lore.
Yeah.
And a lot of people came to them and wanted to do this documentary, and somehow they decided like I was the right person or the time was right. And I think it had a lot to do with like I really was interested in the context. Like it was this story about gentrification and protests, but also it's a bonkers prank. So it's just really fun and kind of blends in all these different ideas.
And we got to talk about like 2003. This was like the heights of malls being like bustling and so busy, and I'm just shocked at these cinder blocks being taken in.
So at one point they decide they're going to build a wall in the secret apartment, and they smuggle in through the mall 2,000 cinder blocks. So wait. No, 2 tons.
No one at
4,000
Claire's
pounds.
was like, whoa, wait, what?
They just were like knew how the mall operated. They would go in and out of the mall. They would go to the food court. They would watch movies at the Cineplex.
No security. No
security.
No cop.
You'll have to see the movie, but there was certainly security. Definitely got onto them after a while, but they understood like how to sort of operate with security, and they weren't really threatening. They were just wanted to build an apartment in the mall.
How were they discovered, and how they get in trouble?
So after about 3 or 4 years, and again, these are 8 people that kept this secret. They didn't tell anyone. It just was like this story that they held and just told no one. And then there was this incident where one of them like broke their Fight Club rules and brought somebody in, and they got caught. Yeah, it's incredible.
They snitched.
Yeah, exactly.
So here's my thing. If you're not allowed to tell anyone, what kind of protests is that doing?
It's so interesting because, you're like, how is this a protest if they're just doing this private thing? But I think that they felt like they were making a stand. This mall came
internally.
in. This mall came in and totally demolished their neighborhood. So they're just like, we're going to make a stand and do this thing. And, people have kind of crazy motivations, and I was just fortunate enough to be able to make the documentary on it.
When they got caught?
One of them got caught, but then the mall was like, wait, we don't want to make such a big deal about this. that somebody was living in our mall for 4 years. So they kind of like swept it under the rug a little bit.
Okay, well, you sold us. Where can people watch this documentary?
So this is really exciting. We're releasing in theaters across the country. We're not just putting it on streaming. We think this is such a fun movie to see with audiences, and audiences seem to agree. So we're in a lot of theaters. We're probably going to be in 100 cities, through this month. And of course, we're in New York. We're at the IFC Center.
Wow.
We're going to be playing at other theaters in the Upper West Side, outside, the whole area. So
Amazing.
We're really excited.
Yeah.
That's so
Screening at any malls?
Yes. We're screening at the mall where this happened, the Providence Place Mall, in the Cineplex, where they were sort of going in and out and watching movies.
That is so
cool. It's crazy.
It is crazy.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Wow.
Secret Mall Apartment.
Yeah, we love it. All right, Jeremy, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I had such a blast.
Yeah, me too.